Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, a man appears in court in London in connection with the shooting in Spain of two Scottish gang figures. Michael Riley is facing extradition in Spain in connection with the fatal shootings of Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr. at a bar on the Costa del Sol. The veteran politician Fergus Ewing is tearing up his SNP membership to stand as an independent candidate at the next election. Also on tonight's programme, we'll hear from the teenager campaigning for better cancer provision in memory of his friend.
Over 50% of children and young people diagnosed with cancer will experience a delayed diagnosis, and by that point, it could be too late.
And we'll have all the sport with Lewis. What do you have in store for us tonight?
Well, Graham, we'll hear how new Kilmarnock manager Stuart Kettlewell is getting on 1 month into his most recent job, and how he's got a very big occasion tomorrow.
And we'll hear from some singers at the Oban Shanty Festival. I'm Graham Stewart. Welcome to the news at 7. A man accused of killing two high-ranking Scottish crime figures has appeared in court in London. Michael Riley is fighting extradition to Spain. Authorities there have accused him of the fatal shooting of Eddie Lyons Jr. and Ross Monaghan at a bar in Fuengirola on the Costa del Sol. The 44-year-old from Liverpool appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court this afternoon. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan was there.
Ross Monaghan had a business interest in the bar in Fuengirola where he and Eddie Lyons Jr. were killed. Tomorrow it will be 3 weeks since they were shot dead. The pub's Facebook page has announced it's reopening this weekend under a new name. In London, the suspect sought by the Spanish appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court after being arrested a week ago in Liverpool. Appearing from prison at a brief hearing, Michael Riley spoke to confirm his name and date of birth and told the court he did not consent to his extradition to Spain. A hearing on the case will be held in October. As he left the dock, Riley accused someone in the public gallery of staring at him and making funny faces. He shouted, "Stop looking at me," as he was led to the cells. A British journalist based in Spain says if the authorities there win his extradition to the Costa del Sol, that will be the first step on a long legal road.
He can be held in custody for up to 2 years without charge, and I would expect it to be definitely more than a year before he's even charged, and possibly 2 before he gets into a courtroom to be tried, if it gets that far, which, you know, obviously the police seem to think it will.
Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr. were members of the Lyons crime group. On Tuesday, a senior Spanish police officer surprised his Scottish counterparts with this statement about their suspect.
Elemento interno de la propia banda de los Daniels.
The chief superintendent described him as a member of the Daniels crime group, long-time rivals of the Lyons. Detectives here are still insisting there's no current evidence linking the shootings in Spain to the Daniels or to the wave of gangland violence that swept across the Central Belt since March. David Cowan reporting Scotland.
A sheriff has told a fatal accident inquiry that it was wholly inappropriate to place a teenager in an adult psychiatric ward. Harris MacDonnell died aged 19 in 2020 near his family home in the Scottish Borders. 2 years earlier, he spent 9 nights at Huntlyburn Psychiatric Ward in Melrose, as there was no space in young people's units in Glasgow, Edinburgh or Dundee. In his determination, Sheriff Peter Patterson said he was concerned about the lack of hospital beds for young people with mental health issues. Harris's family attended the hearings every day. The veteran SNP politician Fergus Ewing has announced he'll stand as an independent at the next Holyrood election, turning his back on the party after more than 25 years as an MSP, as our political correspondent Phil Sim reports.
Slice the history of the SNP down the middle and you will find the name Ewing close to its core. It was Winnie Ewing who had their breakthrough by-election victory in Hamilton in 1967. And between her, her daughter Annabel, her son Fergus and his wife Margaret, they've clocked up a collective 102 years of parliamentary service in Holyrood, at Westminster and the European Parliament. But in 2026, a Ewing will be standing against the SNP at the ballot box. Fergus Ewing served as a government minister under Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon, but he had grown increasingly rebellious in recent years. He was suspended from the SNP group at Holyrood in 2023 for voting against a Green minister in a vote of confidence, and he has not been shy about criticising the government when it comes to local issues like the dualling of the A9 and A96 roads. And today he confirmed that he will be standing as an independent candidate next year.
I think to restore confidence in the Scottish Parliament as an institution, we really need to start to behave like grown-ups. We've had a quarter of a century, and now it's more divided, fractious than ever, and the debate is brittle, sterile and predictable. That's not what people want. They don't want a nest of fearties, as Edwin Morgan, our national poet, once said. They want people to stand up for their interests.
The SNP says Fergus Ewing had the option of standing for them next year and that they regret that he's decided to go his own way. They also reject his criticism of the way they've been running the government. The party has already selected Emma Roddick, who's a regional MSP for the Highlands and Islands, to be their candidate for Inverness and Nairn next year. That is a seat that Fergus Ewing has held since 1999, and under the current boundaries he's never had a majority of under 20%. It may well turn it to be a straight contest between the veteran and the party that he's spent his life in service of. It's going to be a fascinating contest next May.
Well, thanks for joining us on tonight's news at 7. We have more coming up in the programme, including the singers taking centre stage at the Open Shanty Festival this weekend.
All away your four sheets, 'tis our sailing time.
Now, scientists say they're a step closer to developing a reliable test for chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME. Edinburgh University researchers have found people with the condition have significant differences in their blood compared with healthy individuals. More than 20,000 people here are believed to be living with chronic fatigue. At the moment, the cause is unknown and there is no cure. Richard Forbes has spoken to one campaigner who explains what it's like living with the condition.
It's like almost like you're a broken phone battery. So you can never, however much you rest, you can't get up to 100%. And it can change day to day what drains you. But generally, so I'm able to work part-time because I have mild ME. But what that means is on a working day, I can't do a lot else. So my partner supports me with cooking meals, doing the housework, things outside of that. But those kind of day-to-day tasks, things like doing the hoovering, doing the washing up, can be things that I find really tiring.
How difficult was it for you to get a diagnosis?
Extremely difficult. So for me, from the point of when I first started asking questions, it took 5 years of me going to doctors saying something is wrong with me. Because then we didn't have any kind of diagnostic test. What happened was I would go through lots of different tests, they'd run lots of things, and they'd all come back clear. And so they'd say to me, well, you're fine, there's nothing wrong with you, get out, try a bit more exercise. So after years and years of this going on, I took it upon myself to privately see a psychologist, and she was able to assess me and say, this fatigue, this brain fog, all these different symptoms you're describing are not attributed to mental health. When she wrote the letter to my doctor, that was what triggered them to send me for a referral to specialist service. Otherwise, I don't think they ever would have believed me, and I still wouldn't have my diagnosis.
If this research means that they can come up with a definitive test for this condition, what would that mean to you?
It would be an absolute game changer for the ME community. It's hard to even really think about that reality. It's really incredible. So for people who are going through those phases now, those early times when you're going, something is wrong with my body, something's happening, they would potentially be able to get that test that says, yes, this is it, this is real. That would hopefully also lead to better healthcare professional understanding and more acceptance of the condition.
Well, if you're living with ME and have a story to share with us, we'd love to hear your story. Our email address is on screen right now, news7@bbc.co.uk. OK, let's get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app in Scotland. And visitors to Glasgow will be charged an average of £4.83 per night extra for accommodation after councillors approved a new tourist tax. Edinburgh University staff have gone on strike in a dispute over proposed budget cuts. More are planned at the start of the new academic year in September. A 21-year-old woman has been charged over a crash that killed 3 men near Falkirk last year. The car they were travelling in crashed outside the village of Dunmore. And councillors have objected to plans for a new hydro scheme at Loch Kemp, north of Fort Augustus. It would have drawn water from Loch Ness to generate electricity. Well, for more information on all these stories, you can scan the QR code right there, and that will take you to the BBC Scotland News app. Now, losing a friend is difficult at any age, but if you're just a child, it can be even harder to process. Ryan Quinn from Fife knows this all too well, having lost his best pal, Aaron Murphy, to cancer when they were both just 11. Ryan found it hard to navigate life without his friend, who would have been 18 today, but he's turned his grief into action, becoming a campaigner for children affected by cancer, and he's been sharing his story.
So down at this tree is where me and Aaron used to play. And a really funny memory that's always stuck with me is when Aaron thought he would brag and show that, well, I can climb to the very top, and ended up getting stuck. So he had to be rescued by my mum, who managed to get him down after about half an hour. I first met my best friend Aaron on my first day of nursery. After my mum dropped me off, I got very upset as it was the first time I'd been on my own without her. And as I turned around to go and find her, Aaron was standing behind me and we became inseparable instantly. Me and Aaron were the closest of friends. We had so much in common. We had a love for Minecraft and for Star Wars. Aaron was diagnosed with neuroblastoma when he was 4. Through various treatments, Aaron's cancer entered remission, but when he was 10, his cancer returned. Aaron underwent 1.5 years of further treatment, but there was nothing that could be done, and he passed away on the 30th of May 2019, weeks before his 12th birthday. Aaron's death inspired me to be a campaigner. I am campaigning for better diagnostic services for children and young people with cancer and better financial help from the Scottish Government for this group too. Over 50% of children and young people diagnosed with cancer will experience a delayed diagnosis. That can be anywhere from 5 to 7 appointments with a GP before cancer is realised as a possibility. And by that point, it could be too late. I gave a speech at the Scottish Labour Conference in February, and after that I wrote to my MSP Shirley-Ann Somerville, and on my behalf she wrote to the Health Secretary Neil Gray with my concerns, and he wrote back to me and invited me to meet with him in the Scottish Parliament to discuss the work of the Scottish Government so far in supporting children and young people with cancer, while also being able to air my concerns and what I thought that they could do better. Recently, I bought my first car after passing my driving test, and the first thought that I had when I put the key into the ignition after I bought it was, why do I get to do this and Aaron doesn't? And I'm constantly reminded of that as we approach what would have been Aaron's 18th birthday. And 6 years on, I miss him more than ever. But I think it's important now more than ever that I carry this campaign forward and I make sure that Aaron's story gets to the right places and on the right people's desks, and I hope that meaningful change will be made.
That's Ryan Quinn there, and the Health Secretary Neil Gray has told Ryan he was committed to improving outcomes for children and young people with cancer. Now, still to come, we have a full weather forecast with Christopher, and we'll also be treating you to a wonderful sea shanty at the end of the programme. Don't worry, I will not be singing personally. All right, time for the sport now. Here's Lewis.
We're all relieved to hear that, Graham. Hello there. Well, for most football fans, today is the day when it officially feels like the new season is just around the corner. That is because the Premiership fixtures have been announced. So what's in store for your club on the opening day? Here we are then, just the one Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff there, and that is Kilmarnock versus newly promoted Livingston. Two clubs with new managers then go head-to-head that evening. Russell Martin at Rangers against Motherwell under Berthel Askow. Now, the big day for Falkirk fans is on the Sunday, a home match against Dundee United, and then Dundee are at home to Hibernian, and then later that evening the champions get up and running against St Mirren. The opening weekend then wraps with a Monday night match, and it is a cracker indeed too. Hearts against Aberdeen at 8 o'clock. So what can we expect from the new season?
They'll be thinking, when you get back at it, and it's a disappointing end to the season, although it was a great season when you look back, it's hard to kind of criticise when you look at how good the Champions League campaign was, the league campaign. Trebles have become such a regular thing, kind of thanks to Brendan Rodgers and the way Celtic have been recently. But also there'll be one eye on Rangers' new manager and what he's going to bring.
Russ's communication skills and leadership skills are probably the highest things for him, and he's shown in the 3 clubs he's managed that he can produce, he can make teams better. I think coming up to Rangers is definitely an area that he won't have experienced that intensity and the expectation, but I fully believe that he will come in and be a real success.
And plenty more reaction for your club over on the BBC Sport website. Well, one of the 5 clubs starting with the new season with a new manager is Kilmarnock, with Stuart Kettlewell in the dugout for the Rugby Park side. He's keeping their campaign targets close to his chest, but insists it's something which will stretch the squad he's currently assembling. Some of the new recruits here, including defender George Stanger, winger Scott Tiffany and Welsh striker Marcus Dackers. Sheila McLaren's been to see how Kettlewell has been getting on.
I don't tell anybody what the targets are, what the goals are. I could sit here and shout my mouth off, I could sit and be negative. It's safe to say that the goals that we will have, we'll discuss as a group. Once that group's complete and once everybody's in the building, I'll be able to look everybody in the eye and find out whether they're on the same page and they have that same ambition. But I say it all the time, I'm an incredibly driven, ambitious person. So as much as you guys won't hear what they are, the players will very much know what that is. It'll be something that's achievable, but it'll be something that stretches us. So most people will start to work out what that could be. But as I say, I'm never been one for standing there and telling everybody, you know, we're going to do X, Y or Z. It's our job to get the pieces in place, make sure we're working hard, make sure we understand what we want to be. And I always think that once players are developing and growing individually, that starts to come together collectively, and hopefully something that the supporters here at Kilmarnock can enjoy watching, and hopefully it breeds that bit of success as well.
It's been a hectic summer for you so far and a hectic weekend coming up.
Yeah. I'm getting married tomorrow, 18 years and 4 children later. So no, it's my missus will kill me for saying it, but it's been the last thing in my mind at this point. There's been so much to be doing here, but I think by about 6-7 o'clock here tonight when I'm leaving, then I'll start to think about that tomorrow. But hopefully a nice day for us all, and as I say, we go away to Holland on Monday, so a nice day on Saturday, and then that will start to build us into Monday.
No honeymoon for you then?
No honeymoon. I'm going to Holland with the lads. We're going out to Holland with the lads.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Now to rugby, and after lots of build-up, the opening match of the British and Irish Lions summer tour is here and kicks off at 8 o'clock. Glasgow Warriors captain Sione Tuipulotu there and Edinburgh winger Duhan van der Merwe both start tonight. It's the first of 10 games. This one's a bit different because it's in Dublin against Argentina before the squad leave for Australia tomorrow. Irish lock Tag Byrne is eager to get off on the right footing.
It's huge. It's a huge opportunity for us to set the tone for the tour. But as you said, like, they have incredible athletes, and they've come on unbelievably well as a team over the last number of months. So, you know, we're expecting a very dangerous Argentina, and we'll have to be ready for that.
And you can follow how that Lions match is going on the BBC Sport website. There's also news there of Scotland's T20 cricket win against Nepal today, so good news for them too. Graham, that is the sport for the weekend.
And I will choose to ignore your cruel comments about my singing earlier.
I'm glad. I'm going to get out of here before you go.
Yes, you better go. Now, Scotland's richest man is planning to transform a popular visitor spot by Loch Ness. The Danish billionaire Anders Paulsen purchased the Doors Inn last year. A sauna, shop and beach cafe have now been proposed for the site, as Andrew Thompson reports.
On a fine day like today, Doors is a really popular spot for visitors. People flock here to enjoy the views, the beach, and perhaps even catch a glimpse of Nessie. Just over here, we've got the local pub and restaurant, the Doors Inn. It's a bit of a local institution, I think it's fair to say. And last year, it was bought by Scotland's richest man, Anders Hoch Poulsen. Now, he owns a considerable amount of property across the Highlands through his company Wild Lands. And that includes a 300-year-old castle just a few miles away from here as well. Now, there are plans in place for the renovation of this site, and some of the details have just been made public. The plans include a sauna here, also a beach cafe and a shop. There's a car park just over there as well, and that would also be revamped, and new public toilets would be put in place. The owners say the Doors Inn's an important part of local life, and they want something that's going to work year-round for the area. Now, a public exhibition of the plans is to be held later this month, and a full planning application is expected to go into Highland Council before the end of the year. Andrew Thompson, reporting Scotland, Doors.
Now, with the warm sunshine we've been basking in today, what better opportunity to cool down in the great Scottish outdoors? Just think of all the inviting rivers and lochs we have. But this is the time of year when we're most at danger. And I've been speaking to Steve Cole from the Royal Society of the Prevention of Accidents, who's been telling me who's most at risk.
So it's very surprising for this. Actually, the people that are most at risk are men by a long distance. 80% of drowning fatalities in Scotland are men, and it's actually men in their 20s who tend to be most at risk. This is probably due to you're a bit more confident, you maybe take a few more risks than us who are getting a bit older and a bit more cautious about what we're doing.
And a lot of this can be related to alcohol, can't it? On a nice sunny day like this, people do tend to maybe take a little bit too much, and that can lead them getting into trouble.
Exactly, yeah. We would recommend to people just not to swim if you've been drinking. It obviously impairs your judgment, as we know. We've all made bad decisions if we've had a beer, and actually it really affects your ability to swim effectively. You don't see many elite athletes out having a couple of beers before they get on a running track. Swimming is the same, but much higher risk.
Tragically, we had a wild swimmer who died off the Isle of Bute yesterday. Are there particular activities like wild swimming? Are they inherently more dangerous, or is it just lack of experience sometimes is the problem?
That's exactly right. It's more the lack of experience. Nothing is inherently more dangerous, but if you don't know the risks and you don't know how to look for safe bodies of water, what we would say is some places are more dangerous than others. So Scotland, obviously, with a lot of lochs, we've got a lot of deep, cold bodies of water. So even on a really hot day like this, getting into a loch can give you cold water shock. It can be very, very risky. So you have to be very careful about that.
Yeah, what should you do if you find yourself in a position like that?
It's a really good question. What we say at ROSPA and the water safety community in Scotland says, float to live. It's very simple. You put your head back, you submerge your ears, you relax, so you try and control your breathing.
Which is quite a difficult thing to do when you're panicking.
It's counterintuitive because the assumption is you'll swim, start swimming, but actually what you want to do is float, head back, just relax, breathe deeply, and then you're in a better place to use your arms and legs to stay afloat, to make decisions about calling for help, swimming for shore if it's near enough.
Well, Steve, that's all great advice. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thanks very much for your time.
Steve Cole there from the Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents. Well, talking of the weather, Chris is with us. What a hot day it's been
Sweltering.
Today. Sweltering.
Another one on the way tomorrow as well, Graham. Lots of pictures obviously coming to us with blue sky today. Lots of sunny pictures. Glasgow there, Murray, the north coast, and the Borders, which was one of the hot spots as well. But actually the highest temperature was recorded on the banks of Loch Ness, almost 29 degrees. Yes, what a warm day it has been, but not just 29 degrees at Drumnadrochit, many areas reaching 26, 27, 28 Celsius. And of course, it's going to be a very warm evening and a warm night. Temperatures at 11 p.m. still 20 to 22 degrees. So an uncomfortable night for sleeping, I think. To tomorrow, we've still got that warm continental air moving in towards our shores, but there's low pressure lurking, and that'll signal a change for Sunday. First thing tomorrow, we've got some low cloud affecting some North Sea coasts in towards the Moray Firth and pulling northwards towards Orkney. Elsewhere, some morning sunshine, once again very warm if not hot. And then tomorrow, the addition of some heavy, potentially thundery downpours, almost anywhere really, but the focus of them are likely in the east. So temperatures mid-afternoon, once again 26, 27 degrees, maybe 28 towards the Lothians and Borders, up towards Speyside as well. Fresher on the coast, but if you catch one of those showers, they really will be quite heavy. Fresher too around the west coast, the Hebrides and the Northern Isles, but the far north still up to 25 degrees inland. Tomorrow evening, and we're watching a plume of thundery downpours working their way northwards, affecting Edinburgh, Dundee and Aberdeen for a time, and then clearing. So tomorrow is another hot day. Once again, UV levels will be high, but take a look at Sunday's values, more like mid to high teens. So for some, a good 10 degrees cooler compared with what we've seen today and what we'll see again tomorrow. So this is why it's turning cooler on Sunday. We cut off that really warm southerly wind. It's now a westerly, bringing in much fresher conditions with some showers or longer spells of rain. Still some sunshine in between them, perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder with the heaviest downpours, but temperatures 16, 17 degrees in the west, a little bit warmer in the east, 19 to 21 Celsius. So you can see on the outlook, actually, it's more of the same into next week, an unsettled picture, a much fresher picture, temperatures closer to average for the time of year, showers or spells of rain at times, but once again tomorrow, hot. That's the forecast.
It turns so quickly, doesn't it?
Doesn't
Chris, thank you very much indeed. Finally, ahoy there, me hearties. It's the Oban Shanty Festival this weekend with performances and busking all round town. And before we came on air, I caught up with performers Joss Cameron and Amy Dudley, who told me why they love shanties so much.
It's a great sense of camaraderie, so everybody joins in. It's a working songs, of course, and folk love it. There's lots of energy, harmonies, clapping.
The friendships that can be made, rousing choruses, high spirits. It's a wonderful thing to be involved with, and it brings people from all over the world together.
Yeah, and all the people arriving this weekend, what can they expect from the festival?
Oh gosh, it's lots of fun, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a full event as well. So there's concerts, there's different types of shanties, some sad, some long haul, some short haul, capstan, you name it. They'll all be sung this weekend. It's wonderful.
Now, it'd be rude to have you on the programme and not ask you to perform for us. So give us a little ditty. Tell us what it is beforehand.
Okay, we're going to sing for you maybe the farewell shanty. That's one of our favourites. It's a nighttime shanty. It's when the sailors are, they're kicked back. So this is called the farewell shanty. It's time to go now. Haul away your anchor. Haul away your anchor to start sailing time. Get some sail upon her. Haul away your halyards. Haul away your halyards to start sailing time. Get her on her course now. Haul away your foresheets. Haul away your foresheets to start sailing time.
Fantastic. Listen, best of luck for the weekend, and I'm sure the weather will be fantastic for you.
Thank you very much.
And that's it from us for tonight. We're back at 7 tomorrow. Have a good weekend.